Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Millennials Guide to Real Estate. My name is Bradley Jared, and we are talking about where to invest in 2017. You've made the decision, you want to invest in real estate, you're ready to dive in, but where in the world do you invest? Because you can invest in real estate anywhere. Real estate exists in every part of the world, every part of the country, every part of everything. Now I'm going to narrow it down to the US of A, and I'm going to break down a couple of the best locations to invest by Forbes and ThinkAdvisor, two very trusted sources on real estate and finance, what they recommend versus the cities that they say steer clear of because you're not going to make your money. Let's get started. First things first is wherever in the US you are, should you invest locally or should you invest out of state? Now, there's a lot of pros to investing locally. You know the area, you know the schools, you have resources, you have realtors and real estate lawyers, you have contractors, you know. I would say this, you got to analyze your goals. Is your goal to make X amount of money? Is it to get appreciation in the property? Is it cash flow? What are your goals? Because if your local market fits your goals, then stay there. It makes no sense to go anywhere else. But on the flip side, if your local market, like for me, I'm in LA, my local market is way overpriced, offers no cash flow, and for me it's either sit on the bench and wait for real estate to become something locally that I can get involved in several years, or get started now out of state. And it's easy for me to make that decision. I'm going out of state. But you got to make that decision for yourself. So break down the numbers, break down your goals. If it makes sense locally, boom, stay there. If it doesn't, look out of state. And I know it seems a bit scary, but really, it's a lot better to make some money out of state than just sit on the sideline and wait for real estate to make sense in your market if it ever will, which maybe it won't. All right, let's dive in. The first list is Forbes.com, 10 best markets to invest in real estate. Now they base this on population, economic growth, and undervalued homes. So I have it listed right here on my phone. Number 1 is Dallas, Texas. I've heard a lot about Dallas. Good cash flow, but mostly just good economy, even in spite of oil not being what it was a couple years ago. Number 2, Jacksonville, Florida. I've heard a lot about Jacksonville. Myself, I invest in Central Florida, but I've heard a lot about Jacksonville because it's like this little forgotten city that all of a sudden a lot of businesses are going there, a lot of developments are being done. So Jacksonville is great for that. Number 3, Orlando. I invest in Central Florida. That's where I work with clients as well as Tampa, Orlando. So no surprise to see Orlando on the list. Number 3 is pretty high though. 4th is Seattle. Now they also say this is the highest home price out of anyone on the list, which is a bit surprising because if you want to invest in real estate, the goal is to buy low, sell high, and Seattle is a very high market. But apparently because of the economy, they believe it'll keep going higher. It could just really be a tough market to enter if you have a limited amount of funds. Number 5, West Palm Beach, which I didn't know of. That's South Florida, which is good because I thought all down in South Florida, closer to Miami, would be very overpriced, but it's good to see they're doing well. Salt Lake City. Number 7 is Tampa Bay. That's where I invest. That's where I love. Number 8 is Nashville. Number 9, Fort Worth, Texas. And number 10 is Grand Rapids, Michigan, which they also noted is the lowest price of anyone on the list. So if you are really low on capital but you're really excited about investing, Grand Rapids could be the answer. Parts of Florida could be the answer. I just don't think Dallas or West Palm, definitely not Seattle, perhaps Nashville, but those are the cities that the Dallas, Seattle, West Palm, maybe even Salt Lake, those ones will be more expensive. The other ones could be lower market prices. So if you only have $100,000 to invest or so, then look elsewhere. Next list is ThinkAdvisor. Now, ThinkAdvisor.com rated the best ones and the worst ones. So I'm going to go over the best first. This is based on population, average home value, the number of years to pay off the rental property as well. So let's go from the 10 and count down to number 1. 10 is Miami, Florida, which it's very desirable in Miami. However, prices are high. So I'm thinking they're more like you buy it, you rent it out, you make a bit of money, but then you could sell it and make great money on the appreciation. Number 9, Raleigh, North Carolina. 8 is Portland, Oregon. 7, Dallas. Dallas makes another spot on the list. 6 is Reno, which I haven't heard much about. 5 is Austin, and I know Austin has been booming for the last 5 to 10 years, but from what I've heard from other investors is that Austin is just saturated. It's a market where, yeah, the potential has been great for the last 10 years, but if you buy now, you're buying at a high price. It's not like you're buying undervalue. 4, Seattle. So there's Seattle again. Number 3, Denver. So this is a big difference from the list. Denver, Colorado. Definitely look into Denver. I don't know of anything being undervalued in Denver, though it is a very thriving economy. It's very desirable. Here in LA, people leave LA and go to Denver. They leave Denver, come to LA. It's a very similar type of city in terms of outdoorsy and very desirable overall. Number 2 is Tampa. Oh yeah, that's where I'm investing. And number 1, Orlando. That's where I invest as well. This list really makes me look good because it's Central Florida. And you know, when I went through all these lists, most of them differed. And it differed because some would focus on cash flow, others would focus on appreciation, others would focus on holding it for 10 years, while others were more, other lists seemed like it was more like a real savvy investor getting in low and just making a lot of money very quickly. But here are the bad ones. Here are the ones that ThinkAdvisor says not to invest in. Number 1, Anchorage, Alaska. 2, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I went there for the first time last year and I thought it was absolutely miserable. I went in winter, but just miserable. Number 3, Chicago, which is surprising because Chicago is a beautiful city. It's very nice. There's a lot of appeal. But these 3 cities, Anchorage, Pittsburgh, and Chicago, all had negative population growth. They had -4% or -1.2% in their population. And if you're investing in real estate and more people are leaving than coming in, you got a problem. That is not something you want. You want people coming in for sure. I remember seeing on Tampa, it was a 3% population growth, which is great because now you have extra 3% of people looking for homes, and you know what? You got one. Number 4, Virginia Beach, Virginia. 5, Cleveland, Ohio, which Cleveland was on one of the top spots on other lists for rental income, but again, this factors in desirability as well. And who really wants to live in Cleveland? No one I know says, oh, you know what, I'm thinking of moving to Cleveland. Everyone is from Cleveland and then lives in Florida or California or anywhere else. No one goes back to Cleveland. Just saying. Number 6, Honolulu, which that's extremely desirable, but the real estate is outrageous, and so there's no potential for making more money. Or if there is, you know, your money's better put somewhere else. Number 7 is Detroit, which is again surprising like Cleveland because Detroit has really come back recently, but I guess it's just not that desirable. Number 8, Tulsa. Number 9, Omaha, Nebraska. And number 10, El Paso, Texas. And these places actually lost, their homes depreciated, which is something you don't really hear of. But I saw El Paso actually lost value in their homes from last year, and that is bad. So those are the cities to avoid. Again, every list is going to be different, but stay local if it really hits your goals. Do your research. Just don't be afraid to go out of state because there are so many cities, so many towns that are on the up and up that you can make great money in. And all you have to do is take a little flight out there if you want. If you don't want, there's Google Maps. There are property management companies and realtors and resources to help you invest, but don't use it as an excuse not to invest. Hope this episode has helped you. Definitely give me a little subscribe, a thumbs up, and check out my other videos. And I hope to see you again next week. Let me know what you think, and I will see ya.